Okay, we're back and ready to keep digging into this Shinagawa Kids plan. Last time we talked about the big picture, their goals, those cool programs they have.
And we even got a little glimpse behind the scenes with those committee meetings.
Yeah, it was interesting to see people actually discussing the plan, talking about their concerns.
It's a good reminder that making policy is never simple. It's messy.
Totally. And one thing that really stood out to me as we were going through everything is how much emphasis they put on early childhood development.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's a core part of their approach.
Like, they really seem to understand how important those first few years are for a child's future.
Right. The plan acknowledges that a child's foundation for, everything, their well-being, how they learn, how they interact with others, all of that.
It all starts in those early years.
Exactly. And they're not just focusing on daycare or preschool. They're talking about a whole system of support.
So healthcare, nutrition, early education.
All of that, and even support for parents themselves.
Oh, so recognizing that parents need help too.
Absolutely. Especially in those early years, parenting can be so demanding.
And lonely sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the plan talks about having programs to help with that.
Oh, like what?
Like parenting workshops, even home visits from specialists.
So they're not just throwing parents into the deep end and saying, good luck.
Right. It's about creating a network of support, recognizing that it takes a village.
I love that idea, that parents don't have to do this alone.
And it's not just about practical help either. It's about giving parents the knowledge and skills they need to be the best parents they can be.
Yeah, especially for new parents, that can be so overwhelming.
Absolutely. And this all goes back to that idea of Kudomo-man Naka Shakai, a society centered around children. It's about recognizing that when you invest in early childhood development, you're not just helping individual kids and families.
You're investing in the future of the whole community.
Exactly. It's that ripple effect. Again, strong families make a strong community, which makes a strong society.
Makes sense. And it's interesting that they also talk about learning environments outside of formal settings like preschools.
Oh, yeah.
Like they really highlight how important parents and caregivers are in those early years.
Right. Parents are a child's first teachers.
That's so true. It's about those everyday moments, the little things you do with your kids, reading to them, singing songs.
All that is learning.
And to help parents with that, they have ideas like playgroups.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, where parents can connect with each other, share tips and advice, learn from each other.
Building that sense of community.
Exactly. And that brings us to another big theme that keeps coming up. Community engagement. Shinagawa seems really committed to involving everyone in this plan to create a child-centric environment.
They get it. They understand that it takes a whole village.
It's not just the government's responsibility or the schools.
Right. It's about businesses, community groups, residents, everyone.
Even senior citizens.
Yeah, actually, especially senior citizens.
Oh, interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that connection right away.
I know, right? But it makes so much sense when you think about it.
How so?
Well, seniors have so much experience, so much wisdom to share.
And often more free time, too.
Exactly. The plan talks about having seniors involved in mentoring programs, maybe helping with childcare.
So not only do the kids benefit, but the seniors feel more connected to their community, too.
It's a win-win. It's that intergenerational connection we talked about.
Yeah, bringing everyone together.
Yeah.
And they're not stopping there. They're also encouraging businesses to create family-friendly workplaces.
Okay, so maybe offering flexible hours or on-site childcare.
It's recognizing that supporting working families is everyone's responsibility.
Right, and they're asking residents to get involved too.
No.
Maybe participating in neighborhood watch programs, organizing events, just making their neighborhoods more welcoming and safe for kids.
It's that idea that we're all responsible for each other, especially for the children.
Exactly. And you can see that same spirit in those unique programs we talked about, like the Toy Hospital.
Yeah.
Those programs rely on volunteers, people who care about their community and want to make a difference.
It's inspiring to see people coming together like that.
It is. It shows what's possible when we work together.
And it sends a powerful message that children are valued and respected in this community.
Exactly. It's about creating a culture where children feel seen and heard.
Where they're given the opportunity to thrive.
It's truly embracing that Kodomo-man Naka Shakai philosophy.
And of course, we can't talk about creating a modern society without talking about technology.
It's everywhere, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
And it's only going to become more prevalent as these kids grow up. So how does the Shinagawa Kids plan address that?
That's a great question. And actually, they dedicate a whole section of the plan to exploring the relationship between technology and kids.
Oh, wow. So they're not just ignoring it.
Definitely not. They recognize that technology is changing childhood, and they're trying to figure out how to use it in a positive way.
So finding that balance between the good and the bad.
Exactly. They talk about using technology to support learning.
Okay, so educational apps, online resources, things like that.
Right, using technology as a tool, not just a distraction.
And they also emphasize the importance of teaching kids about online safety, critical thinking, digital citizenship.
It's about preparing them to be responsible digital citizens.
Not just passive consumers of technology.
Exactly. But at the same time, they also stress the importance of balance.
For making sure kids aren't spending all their time in front of screens.
Right, making sure they still have time for outdoor play, face-to-face interaction.
It's about ensuring technology doesn't replace those essential childhood experiences.
Absolutely. It's about finding that sweet spot where technology enhances childhood without overshadowing it.
That's a tough balance to find, especially these days.
It is. It's a conversation we need to keep having.
As individuals and as a society.
Right. How can we use technology in a way that makes our lives better, not worse?
That's a big question. But before we get too philosophical, I want to bring it back to our listener for a moment.
Okay, sounds good.
What if you were in charge of creating a kids plan for your own community? What would be your top priorities?
What resonates with you from the Shinagawa plan? What are the unique challenges and opportunities in your own community?
Maybe you're in a rural area where access to resources is limited.
Or maybe you're in a big city where creating a sense of community is really important.
Whatever your situation is, we encourage you to take inspiration from Shinagawa and think about how you can apply these ideas to your own community.
Because ultimately, this plan isn't just about one ward in Tokyo.
Right.
It's a model, a case study for how communities all over the world can work together to create a better future for their children.
It's a reminder that change starts locally.
And that even small actions can have a big impact.
So what will your impact be? All right, back for the final part of our deep dive into this Shinagawa Kids Plan.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. Their vision, the strategies, the challenges, those amazing programs.
Those committee meetings were really insightful, too.
Definitely. Seeing those discussions play out was fascinating.
Real-world policy in action, it's never simple.
It's not. But throughout all this, there's one big question that keeps coming back to me.
Oh, what's that?
How are they going to pay for all this? It's an ambitious plan, lots of great ideas.
You're right, that's the big question, isn't it? And to their credit, they do address it in the plan.
Okay, good.
They lay out a pretty detailed funding strategy.
So let's hear it. Where's the money coming from?
Well, the first step is about being smart with what they already have.
Okay, makes sense.
Optimizing existing resources, looking at current spending, finding ways to be more efficient.
So cutting waste, basically.
Yeah, and then redirecting those funds to prioritize programs for kids.
So being strategic, making sure every dollar counts.
Exactly. It's not always about needing more, it's about using what you have wisely.
Smart. But even with that, I imagine they'll need more funding, right?
You're right, and they've got some ideas for that.
Like what?
They talk about public-private partnerships, getting local businesses involved. So a business might contribute to a specific program that fits with their, social responsibility goals.
So tapping into the private sector, finding companies who are passionate about supporting families.
Exactly. And it benefits everyone. The company gets to show they care about the community, and the community gets the resources they need.
I like that. It's a win-win. Are there any other ideas they're looking at?
They mention exploring grants from foundations,
Okay.
which is common for nonprofits, and even crowdfunding for certain projects.
Crowdfunding for government programs.
It's becoming more popular. It's a way for people to directly support causes they believe in.
That's pretty cool. It's like giving power back to the people.
And of course, there's the national government.
Right. They can't do it all alone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even though this is a local plan, they know they need support from the national level.
To make it truly happen.
Right. And they advocate for that in the plan. They're saying, hey, investing in kids is an investment in Japan's future.
It's a national priority, not just a local expense.
Exactly. Connecting the dots between what happens in Shinagawa and how it affects the whole country.
It's a smart approach. And something else I noticed is how much they emphasize transparency.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, being accountable for how the money's being spent and what results they're getting.
Showing that it's making a difference.
Right. It's not enough to just get the funding. You have to prove it's actually working.
It builds trust and makes sure resources are used well. But like we've been saying, this plan is about more than just money.
Right. It's about changing attitudes.
Exactly. It's about making kodomoman naka shakai more than just words, but a real way of life.
A society that values children, invests in them.
Where families feel supported, not burdened.
A culture of shared responsibility.
Exactly. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the Shinagawa Kids Plan.
It's been fascinating, hasn't it?
Really insightful.
We've seen their vision, their strategies, the challenges, the potential.
From the big picture to the small details.
And most importantly, we've seen a community that's truly dedicated to its children.
Taking action, not just talking about it.
And that's what we want to leave our listener with, that call to action.
What can you do in your own community to make things better for kids and families?
It doesn't matter where you are, we can all make a difference.
Even small actions can have a ripple effect.
So take inspiration from Shinagawa. Think critically about your own community and get involved.
Because every ripple counts.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Shinagawa Kids Plan.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep making a difference.